Yeah, but
oh, that's my moral philosophy.
I understand that, but like he's not even in that example even in of itself, and I'll get to this in the transcript. He's not even talking about speech there. He's just talking about violent crime and how you would handle that, and like that's all.
Wait. So we'll definitely do not get anxious. We'll go. I am here. It is 2:30 in the morning. We'll get into the transcript. I'm here for it. I'm here for us to go parse it line through line. But I'm just asking you in principle. There's nothing anti-free speech, is there, about as a consequence for a criminal action, allowing for or mandating education programs, correct?
Like, how he does this for education programs. Oh, that can't be real. That can't. When they talk about re-education, they just mean sending you to go get your GED.
And this is what like made me think that Pisco is actually bad faith, right? Like he's not just someone who is like completely ignorant, right? I think he's just straight up bad faith. I think that he is aware on some unconscious level that he is not being the most honest. Like this is where it came from, like stuff like this, right? Because again, no one uses the word re-education camps like this except for unless you're like trying to sweep for Hasan. There's only like one possible, unless you're stupid. Well, let's see. Well, Pisco isn't stupid, so we can rule that out. So what does that leave us with, right? Oh, that means Pisco is bad faith. He's lying. He knows exactly what it implies, right?
Can't be a real statement. That can't possibly be real.
I respect him too much.
Hasan just wants more people to have their bachelors. Like,
action.
He means go to community college.
Allowing for or mandating education programs, correct? We allow slavery.
I'll lightly say yes. There's nothing inherently. Although again, it depends on the crime. But
okay, so I totally agree that it depends on if you're just making political crimes. Then obviously this is all just a way to launder, right? You're saying it's because of crimes, but the crimes themselves are political offenses against speech. In which case, that itself would, like, it's not helpful if the crime itself is speech related, and you say, well, the re-education is just for the crime, but you define the crime in such a way as to be, viewpoint not neutral, right? So I agree with you on that. So now,
well, I mean, it matters because not because of what you personally believe. Okay, just keep in mind, it's not because of what you personally believe, but it's based off of, the way that Hasan interprets it, right? If that makes sense.
Let's actually look at what he said. Okay.
Okay. I have it here. Ethan says, if the will of the people is to go back to do more of a social democracy, is that something that a socialist country should move towards, or should there be resistance in the government to keep socialism? Hasan says, I think the resistance should be akin to how capitalist governments have resisted. Now, I'll clarify here. Hasan thinks that capitalist governments resist socialism and communism.
Oh, good job, whoever this is. Nice.
Through violence. He explicitly says this. This is how he thinks capitalists control and seclude communism from taking over the world. And then he goes on to say, historically, any kind of socialist movement, not to that same degree. I think there's a speaking how capitalist governments have resisted. Historically, any kind of socialist movement, not to that same degree of violence. So here he's saying there will be violence, but not to the same degree as capitalists, supposedly.
Well, hang on. So let's read it. So you're saying I think the resistance should be akin to how capitalist governments have resisted historically any kind of socialist movement, not to that same degree of violence, but yes, the solution to that will always be education and offering more. So you think that means that he does think that we should have violence against people who use speech?
Yes, because like he says, he wants to do it akin to how capitalist governments do it, and he thinks capitalist governments use violence, and he even says we should use violence, but not to the same degree.
Where does he say that capitalist governments have historically? Well, I'll grant that he says that capitalist governments have used violence to resist historically socialist movements, right? By which he means, I assume,
like the Cold War stuff, you know.
So in the Cold War situation, what did they do?
Like when we like subvert governments, or when we like in like places like El Salvador and like I guess South Korea,
right? So this is talking about. So I don't understand him to be referring to American foreign policy abroad. I think he's talking about domestic government. That's Ethan.
Hasan is literally on record stating, what did he say directly? If the American government has a position on something, if you have the opposite position, you're basically always going to be correct. Hasan obviously, massively, ideologically opposes the U.S. government and our foreign policy. Wait, was it in the violent clip, the one that apparently LSF fucking banned this and said it was a bad interpretation? Was it in that one where Hasan was speaking next to Ted Lorenz, where he said something like, as long as we can get the United States out of the way, there'll be like a globalist, like kind of global socialist revolution or something along those lines? Was that clip? Does anybody have a link to that TikTok? We can listen to it again. Like he says it outright.
More of it as well. I feel that in the city as well. Like I feel that there is a camaraderie and there is. Well, like I think in the real world, the normies are way more radical than the way that the media is presenting this like liberal style resistance right now. I see Deborah's and barbers, like wine moms on Facebook being like, Hakeem Jeffries, you need to go out and die. You need to go out and put your body on the line. What the fuck are you doing? And it's like literally like a 50-year-old lady on Facebook with her government name. And we kind of saw a bit of that with the North Carolina, it wasn't Thomas Massey, Tom Tillis, where there were people like, I'm a 77-year-old veteran and I'm gonna, this 1-8 you drive, and messages they were leaving in this dude's this dude's office, and he's resigning. Like he's literally, this is his. People are a lot more radical now. This is a time. It's an unprecedented time to really get others on board. To explain to them that it's not your neighbors, it's not like a Guatemalan migrant that is responsible for all the shit that you're going through on a daily basis, not a trans person. I said this on Theo Vaughn's podcast as well. I was like, a trans person is not your landlord, unless, I mean, we're in LA, maybe you guys got a trans landlord, I don't know.
There's no... What, like, there's no transgender landlords?
Look at the juxtaposition there, right? It's hijacking the progressive issues, right? So it's not the immigrant, it's not the trans person, right? It's the conservative that's trying to take away the rights from these people? No. It's the capital class, right? That's what the juxtaposition is. This is right here. This is like and he does this a lot. I don't even know if I call this stuff out because I feel like it's just so obvious, right? It's always trying to hide. This is why he always he plays this game where sometimes he's a super progressive.
I think we have to use like Hanlon's. Oops, I accidentally joined the fucking general voice chat. You know what's funny? You know what's funny is that someone is in the general voice chat, and I probably just like surprised them out of nowhere. Oops, suddenly 150 people are watching you. Oopsies. Okay. But I saw that too. Yeah. Or 140 rather. But I think for Hanlon's razor, I think it could be attributed to Pisco's like stubbornness rather than him maybe being like evil, right? I don't think Pisco's evil. I think he's just stubborn and stupid. But and because he's stubborn, he is lying and being bad faith, right? Because he doesn't want to concede on anything. He hates conceding, right? He has a big I actually think Pisco is one of the best representations of toxic masculinity. Like you just search up toxic masculinity without like actually being like red pill, and you can probably just find Pisco under it, because I think Pisco is like the very definition of like being toxically masculine, to the point where you don't want to concede anything. You want to double down and die on the hill on every single point because you really want to win this fight, right? Yeah. It's very, very toxic masculinity.
And other times he becomes like the kind of like ML tanky guy. It's because he's trying to get those people with the idpol stuff and then make them care about idpol, but not really identity politics. It's idpol contrasted against like class consciousness, right? Yeah, they're trying to come after the gays and the trans and the immigrants, and it's not MAGA, it's not conservatives, it's capitalists, right? That's what he always does.
But for the most part, it's your landlord, it's your bosses that are fucking you over, it's capital owners that are fucking you over.
Your landlords and your bosses and capital owners are the reason why trans people lost access to healthcare in the United States.
Well, it makes you think how they're all Jewish. Am I right?
States.
And I think this is a unique opportunity to get even Deborah's and Barbara's on board with that, like white wine moms. And you actually wrote about this, and it was a great video where you talked about, someone has to do it. See, when I say that, everyone knows exactly what I mean. Which is, I think that shows that there is a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, and untapped potential, untapped revolutionary potential, as a matter of fact. And it's a great opportunity for organizing, I think, in these unprecedentedly horrible.
Why did he give Hasan a career? This guy is so cringe.
Horrible times. So that's what I think.
Fuck, he didn't say it here. I wonder if he said it before. Can I not times two this fucking...
platform and be able to speak more freely outside of
I can. Fuck.
media. But we're seeing this like just
Like this is cringe.
Weird space to watch, because I feel like scary. Well, not scary, that is.
be able to speak more freely outside of the mainstream media. Free speech, whether it's the media, speech online. And, both the Democrats and the Republicans are aligned on censorship. They're manufacturing a moral panic around the internet and social
Both the Democrats and the Republicans are aligned on censorship? Oh, okay, Chief.
media, and telling people to support things like the Kids Online Safety Act, this horrible censorship bill. They're trying to repeal Section 230, which is a law that essentially protects speech online. So I think that we need to do everything we can to protect it. To even be able to have episodes like South Park, and for people like Hasan, and me to be able to express ourselves freely as journalists still, in this time.
Yeah, I also wanted to talk about something else that's kind of tangentially related to the South Park thing, because we were talking about that. Like, I'm glad that, the fail-ennials and the boomer liberals, they like, Donald Trump has a tiny penis, it's cool, but like, I think in the real world, the normies have...
Okay, fuck, it wasn't here. It was some other place. Fuck, some other place where he it's like a murmur at the end of a sentence, but he's basically saying that, like, if the U.S. can get out of the way, then the global, like, socialist class consciousness can emerge. I'm pretty sure it was Hasan that said it. Maybe it was somebody else, but I don't have the clip offhand, I guess. I don't know who. Revolutionary potential is absolutely an illusion for violence. Revolutionary and revolution always refers to like a socialist revolution, yes.
The scope of Ethan's question is about the will of the people, that is to say the American people.
Wasn't it in the deprogram thing? Maybe it might have been. Maybe it was in the deprogram clip that we listened to.
American foreign policy abroad. I think he's talking about domestic government. The scope of Ethan's question is about the will of the people, that is to say the American people.
Yeah.
Like, keep in mind, too, the context for Ethan's conversation with Hasan here is Hasan is supposed to be the knowing politics guy. Ethan is supposed to be the politics retarded guy. And he's speaking to a politically uninformed audience, supposedly. So how is there so much confusion here over what Hasan is saying? Like, wouldn't it behoove him to be as crystal clear as possible about his meaning and his intent behind everything?
Okay,
But no, I'm just saying that, like, his problem, like, when he says it's akin to how capitalist governments have resisted, like, he'll also say that capitalists within the U.S. have resisted communism through violence, and he'll reference, like, McCarthy.
Okay, but he's saying not to that same degree of violence, but yes, we should do some stuff.
Okay,
so it's unclear what he's talking about, right?
Oh my God, it's unclear what he means, because he just says less violence. That could mean no violence, because technically, if somebody has 100% violence and another person has 0% violence, 0% violence would be less violence than 100% violence, right?
Not to that same degree of violence, but yes,
So
we should do some stuff.
Okay,
So it's kind of unclear.
wait.
It's unclear what he's talking about, right?
Okay, but that's one that's by design. And two,
Like, yes, because I was going to say, even if it is unclear, you've already conceded, in my opinion, the entire argument. Like, that, you've already, like, conceded that. Like, unclear is not acceptable when you're being asked about this here, right? Like, do you think that we should rape women in response to them committing crimes? Well, I mean, they rape women in some Middle Eastern societies in response to certain crimes. I don't think we should rape them as much as they do there. And it's like, okay. I mean, like, it's kind of like an ambiguous answer. Like, I mean, he says less than there. Like, you would never, ever grant that. That would be a ridiculous answer. That's an unhinged answer. What do you mean less than? What? What does that even mean?
also, I appreciate the charity with which you view people's arguments, but we have to remember, okay, and this is what I don't like about your analysis of this, is that
Hasan has explicitly said that he thrives in the ambiguity. It's like somebody comes out and they say, like, I dog whistle a whole bunch of positions so that it's hard to know exactly where I'm at so that I can radicalize people. And then somebody's arguing, like, don't you think this guy's saying a lot of insane shit? And then you're like,
I think ambiguous people lure people in, like Pisco, the most. I think what happens is that people who are extremely pedantic, but like, or maybe they're like highly autistic, maybe, or something. Like, these people tend to be like the people who fall for the people who play the lines, right, the most. For example, Sam Hyde, right? People who focus on like the most pedantic aspects are like, the definition of like it's just the kinds of people who would fall for this kind of shit the most. So
I don't really know if he's saying a lot of insane shit. I feel like a lot of it is actually quite ambiguous. It's like, yeah, that's the point. He literally said that. He said that. That's the whole point.
Appreciate the charity with which you view people's arguments, but we have to remember, okay, and this is what I don't like about your analysis of this, is that Hasan is purposefully downplaying his rhetoric to funnel people into more radical positions. So when you just take him at his word in these conversations, when we know that his whole purpose is to downplay his position, to radicalize people further, then
I'm open to that.
Well, what are we doing?
So I want to say I'm open to that. Then if we can just...
You don't have to be open to that. Hasan has literally explicitly said that.
Agree that literally, as the words, as he's stating here, a good faith interpretation would not be that I'm against
open to it,
taking the whole quote in its context. The best faith interpretation of that, just the words and the context of the specific quote, putting aside the issues of him mask on, that the words themselves aren't saying we should get rid of the First Amendment and that we should put people in jail just because they think differently. That's not what the words actually say in context.
That's not what the words actually say. But I think that's going beyond good faith into like cover or like cope.
Wait, Hasan ML clips.
Dude, whoever this debater is, this person is a cooker. Okay, this person is a fucking steam pot cooker. Okay, this person is a rice cooker. All right, and Pisco is the brown rice. Okay, race has nothing to do with it. I don't know why I said that. Okay, maybe a little bit. Well, the point is that Pisco is getting cooked, okay, in this conversation. He looks horrible, okay, in my opinion.
Does he actually say he's an ML? I didn't think he actually like outwardly said that.
Many people in here did not start off as like card-carrying Marxist-Leninists, okay? As a matter of fact, no one does. It's crazy.
I mean, he kind of does say it, right?
Does he really say this now?
That's it. That's why I always... Oh, she knows.
Okay. Jesus. ML is a tanky. That is a tanky. Okay? That's what that means. They're tankies.
Yeah, like in my opinion, this is the closest thing you can get to proof, really. I do actually think this is like the closest you can get to like proof that Hasan is in fact tanky. Yeah, like the thing is that you can't get a direct confession. It's impossible. It's impossible to get a direct confession, but this is the closest thing you can get, in my opinion.
Because of this perspective that I have.
Why?
Hasan's a good guy doing good work, but the reverse purity argument is a miss for me. What?
Not good.
No, I mean, it might be a miss for you, but notice how you feel safe in this community. Here, I'll give you the greatest example. You want to know why you get to be in a fucking community with like 32,000 like-minded people, as opposed to your Splinter Discord that you occupy otherwise, where you guys do fake reading, reading seminars or whatever? Because of this perspective that I have. Many people in here did not start off as like card-carrying Marxist-Leninists, okay?
Okay, I promise that was not my exaggerated expression. That was like my genuine that was my genuine reaction first time to that. Oh, that's...
Many people here don't start off as, that's what he's saying, right?
Many people in here did not start off as like card-carrying Marxist-Leninists.
As card-carrying Marxist-Leninists. That's insane.
Okay? As a matter of fact, no one does. It's crazy. That's it. That's why I always...
No.
Oh, she knows.
She knows.
What? Trump's anti-Semitism chief shares Jew card post from white supremacists. Leo Terrell, who runs the DOJ's anti-Semitism task force, shared a post from the former leader of an organization that promoted the Nazification of America. What? Leo Terrell, the civil rights attorney in charge of President Donald Trump's anti-Semitism task force, shared a post on the social media platform X on Friday from a notorious white supremacist leader. Trump has the ability to revoke someone's Jew card, said the post, which included the video of the president saying to the Senate majority leader...
Okay, was that it for that one? What is this?
Credibility, no gloves, let him have it, hold him to account. I mean, I don't really care about the petty shit. I just want to have this conversation, and more importantly, I want his audience to actually hear.
Proximity effect to deepen his voice? What, like, is it an actual, like, fucking audio, like, modifier that he's using?
The truth. That is what I care about. Ironically enough, he believes that that's what he wants to do as well, to have my audience hear the truth about the dangerous nature, not realizing that my audience probably thinks I'm fucking not radical enough, half of this community thinks I'm a pussy for not running around constantly and just like, I don't know, flying the banners, okay? So I don't know why he thinks that, I don't know why he legitimately and unironically thinks that like people are going to fucking be like, wow, I can't believe Hasan offered analysis and context to why resistance militancy exists against an apartheid regime that is doing fucking genocide and blowing the shit out of every neighboring country. I can't believe he said that. Oh no, the horror. Like, does he not realize that these are my points that I've said on my stream with additional fucking statements on top of that? I don't know why he thinks that my audience is going to be like, wow, this is a bridge too far. What's next? Are you going to say that you have Marxist-Leninist tendencies? How dare you?
Jesus. Okay.
What? He's just like out in the and Pisco says he doesn't watch Hasan, right? Like he says like he doesn't even watch Hasan, so he just give him the benefit of the doubt. Oh my god. Dude, Pisco is so fucking cooked, dude. Pisco is actually so fucking cooked.
To be called fat and ugly, in my opinion.
Did you already cover decimation?
Until you find a more appropriate and more successful method of building a Marxist-Leninist vanguard party, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing, okay? And you do you. I'll be there by your side.
Jesus
you understand?
Christ.
I didn't even know about all of this. These are like new clips to me. Like I've never seen these before in my life. What?
Jesus Christ. Okay. I might have even watched that one before. Okay. I don't know.
It's like someone saying, well, unless you can think about another way to reenact Hitler's like fucking neo-Nazi movement. that's essentially like what he's saying. It's crazy shit.
I'm just crazy. I didn't. Okay, he's super blatant and open about this. All right.
Yes.
In case you don't know where the term tanky comes from, there was a Hungarian revolution in the 50s where they tried to revolt against the Soviet Union. I don't know why. Those political parties were amazing and awesome. And I think as part of the counter to the revolution, Khrushchev, I think the meme is that he literally rolled tanks into Budapest and was running people over, right? I think is the maybe that should be. I shouldn't call it a meme. I'm sorry. But they like rolled tanks out to like oppress the revolting civilian population. But you know, whatever.
Boy.
For Hasan, like
So you can say,
sorry, and I don't think you're like doing this because you have some religious Hasan. I'm just saying, like, if you're going this hard to like be like, well, just by the text that he says, he means this, or it doesn't go against.
I'm sorry,
speech.
I just did that for Destiny this entire time about like this little tweet thread where we were parsing like every single tiny word in ways that are like picking apart. So
Parsing every single tiny word in ways we're picking apart. I know that Pisco's not the one who just said it about me. Excuse me, Mister. Is this dispositive and blah blah blah? No, come on. These words are meaningfully different. Like it matters when you say there's between voting for somebody versus supporting somebody versus.
Right, this is what, again, did I point this out before? I'm not sure if I did, but just in case I haven't, right? If you apply selective nuance, depending on what situation it is, yeah, you're bad faith. It is a bad faith move to apply selective nuance, right? But yeah, it's like, yeah, it is bad faith, right? Pisco is very bad faith, yeah.
Says voting for somebody who's going to have the ability to enact their policy versus voting for somebody who's going to be politically ineffective. These are all important distinctions.
I feel like I do this for everybody. I try to do this for everybody, but let's talk about it.
What?
People have said for me, Hasan argues for re-education camps. They point to this, and I'm like, that's not what he's arguing for if you just take the words. And you're like, oh, come on, you believe him? Well, okay, you can say that he is masking the true nefarious.
I don't like that Pisco is saying that, like, okay, let's hypothetically grant, that Hitler really didn't like Jewish people. Okay, well, if I grant you, no! First of all, we don't need a granting. We just need a shared reality. Hasan has openly, blatantly said this. He has openly, blatantly said this multiple times, that he masks in order to attract liberals to his political movement. We know this. This is not like a...
And it's working on Pisco?
If anything, I'm more ML and less liberal than you are, you anarchist idiot.
Oh, this is in 2021. Like, Hasan is like open about this.
Scope of what he's saying, but then just don't sell this as the place in which he blatantly advocates for the bad thing. Then you should say something weaker, like, oh, this is where he signals that he'd be in favor. But I think the reason people point
Hasan will never blatantly advocate for it, although he's basically done that because he literally says explicitly that I'm here to dog whistle and radicalize people down the funnel. What the fuck?
This is because he says he's in favor of education,
I
and
mean,
that's what looks bad.
I think it gets worse even as you go down further into the transcript, into what he says.
Okay.
So after this whole section of, but I think that the solution will always be education, offering more education. Ethan says, re-education? Hasan says, re-education, certainly, yeah.
See, this is what I like about Wintermute, okay? He's open about being ML.
I know that's like a trigger word. Ethan says, let's put him in camps. Hasan says, no, not like that.
No, like that.
I know that's a trigger word because people are like, what do you mean by that? Are you talking about like resident schools or Xinjiang? And Ethan says,
And he's
just
clarifying.
right. And Hasan says, yeah.
So this is him clarifying everything that he just said above. He's trying to clarify what he said above. Yeah.
Yes. He goes, no.
And he's clarifying it because Ethan thinks he's in favor of Vanguard Party, forced not enslavement, imprisonment of ideological enemies. Okay, that's what he's asking for clarification on.
No, I don't agree with that, which is something I openly criticize as well. That's not good. The massive surveillance apparatus they built is not good. And so then Ethan reiterates, he goes,
and then Hasan generalizes. He backs out and he generalizes. He doesn't answer the core of that question. It's like, you have to realize the strategy here. You have to know what's going on, right? Like, how do you discipline your kids? Well, I will send them to timeout. Sometimes I will chain them to the radiator and punch them as hard as I can until they pass out. Other times I'll revoke their computer privileges. And then somebody's like, wait, hold on. Like, do you like you beat the shit out of your kids? And it's like, I think there's a lot of different ways you can discipline kids. When I take away the computer, I try to make it so that, like, if I take away the computer, you can earn it back if you do certain chores. And I try not to be, like, I punish them so much that they have, no place to go, and then no punishment matters at that point. It's like that's not really what I was asking about. Wait, that's not really what the question was about there. Like, how can you not see this?
What would be good about a socialist re-education camp for capitalists? And Hasan goes on this, I don't think it would be camps. It depends on crimes, right? This is where he talks about the crimes. Yeah. Like, are people committing crimes at the behest of this cause? If there's a socialist state and someone is doing, like, white terror. Okay, we'll pause here.
Yes, he's not just saying any crime. He's using explicit words here to talk about capitalism crimes.
What the fuck is he bringing up? What does that have to do with socialism?
Yes.
So ideological, I think he's trying to imply some kind of ideological crime, right?
Not imply. He's explicitly saying it. I want to murder Kyle Johnson. And it's like, damn, what do you think he's saying? It's like, I think he's implying that he wants to hurt Kyle Johnson. I think there's a heavy implication there. No, that's not what implication means. He's saying it outright. He's just explicitly saying it.
Some crime.
Yeah, he's explying it. Is there a word for exply? When you imply something, can you exply something? There's got to be some kind of verb there, right?
Nothing to do with capitalists versus socialists, right? White terror has nothing to do with capitalism.
Yeah, he's a fucking.
Socialism.
He's like oppressor, oppressee.
Just a reminder, okay? I think Hasan is exactly the kind of person who would look at like fucking, who would look at Sam Hyde, and then Sam Hyde, okay, and then Sam Hyde like fucking vague posts, and then Hasan's all like, see, that's a dog whistle. That's a dog whistle towards being a Nazi, okay? You don't understand. Sam Hyde clearly there just did a really smart dog whistle in order to move more people to his side. And meanwhile, Hasan is like literally doing the same thing, but ML is like, okay.
Stop. So everything.
And then now he's like, oh, he's just playing dumb. And he's like, he's like explaining literally, like he's like Andrew Tate explaining how he bags girls, right? Like he's like Andrew Tate explaining how he kidnaps women, right? and then people are like, oh, what are you talking about? And then they give Hasan the benefit of the doubt. Okay.
Good and everything is or everything bad is oppressor, white, capitalist. So yeah, he has this view that we don't agree with, where capitalism is racialized and it's all intersectional. I don't.
Well, you don't understand. Maybe Andrew Tate clearly doesn't say blatantly to, well, you know, clearly this guy's not a sex trafficker, okay? Clearly, you know, Sam Hyde is not a Nazi. Have you ever mentioned Sam Hyde saying ever that he's a Nazi? That's what I thought, okay? Sam Hyde isn't a Nazi. Come on, don't be ridiculous. You're having delusions. Someone take them to the infirmary, okay? If you speak anymore, I'm gonna have to call the Department of State. Okay.
I think it's fucking
what? How did we macro out to that take?
stupid, but it's ready
Seems like
context.
a dodge.
I don't think it's a dodge at all, right? He's basically saying if there's a socialist state and someone is doing like white terror or is doing some kind of South Korean style purge of communists, he's basically saying if someone is doing some kind of ideological crime, specifically tying it to crime, right? So purges and terror, those are.
Why would you have to tie it to crime? I don't understand why he keeps missing the point, right? Like, how would you enforce the law in your society? Well, if women were committing violent acts and if women were out here doing these things like theft and arson, it's like, wait a second, why are we talking about women doing crime? No, he's tying it explicitly to crime. You agree? Hold on. I'm sorry. Are you saying that people shouldn't be locked up for committing crimes, for doing arson, for violent stuff? It's like, well, yeah, but why are we tying it to the women thing? That's kind of weird, no? I don't know how you can miss the point on every single sentence. It's like it's the actual Matrix. It's the actual what was that? Actual Matrix. Single sentence to the women thing. That's kind of weird, no? I don't know how you can miss the point on every single sentence. It's like it's the actual. I don't know how you can miss the point on every single sentence. It's like it's the actual Matrix. It's the actual Matrix, and it's like the point, and it's like like what? What are we doing here?
He's basically saying if someone is doing some kind of ideological crime, specifically tying it to crime, right? So purges and terror, those are crimes that have also a nexus to ideology. And so I think if you take him in good faith, because if there's a social state and someone's doing like white terror, let's say, or someone's doing a South Korean style purge of communists, if you're doing some kind of ideological violence, then ... That's the best interpretation of what he's saying.
Then what if the ideological violence isn't related to? Well, actually, this is the problem. This is the problem. All he's saying here is like in a socialist society, we're against like violent crime, and it's like it's sidestepping.
Oh fuck! I think you're right on that. No, that. Wait, hold on. I'm so confused here. I don't know. I can't tell if Pisco has just never dived into leftist shit before. I'm so sorry. Fuck, I didn't even consider that. The reason why Pisco brought up that oppressor-oppressee thing and everything is because he thought that white terror meant like white people terror. He thought that was a racial thing. I think that's some,
No. Pisco does know, okay? Pisco does know. His girlfriend is a communist. Stop. Okay, no. I mean, no, I don't think, no, hold on. I don't think you can grant Pisco the benefit of the doubt anymore. I don't think so. The reason is because he has a girlfriend that is literally a tinky. That's why. You're telling me in their entire time together, his girlfriend didn't explain to him what all of this means? Don't think Pisco knows? But it makes sense, right? It makes more sense that way. He has a girlfriend who is a tinky. Yes, like this legally blonde person. This like blonde, not legally blonde. It's like this blondie does politics person. She's also a content creator. And then in addition to his girlfriend, he also has straight array within his orbit, right? You're telling me that in his Discord server, he doesn't talk about any of this? Like you're telling me in his Discord server he doesn't talk about like oh, what political ideologies do you guys subscribe by? Ha 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 ha. Right? You really, obviously, right? That's like the first thing everyone talks about.
Why did I just see this? It has to do with like fighting against revolutionaries in Spain, in France. Oh my God, in Spain. Oh no, and everywhere. Just kidding. The first white terror. This is like politically oriented stuff. This is not like white people.
Also, can I just say, okay, if Pisco is if Pisco is getting career advice from Queeman on his own stream, okay, tell you this, okay, don't follow it. Don't follow the career advice, okay? Do you know what's the one career advice that I got from Queeman? The one career advice? Keep talking about lolly. Keep doing lolly content because that's what you're best at, and you should just never stop talking about lolly. I'm talking about this right now, getting more than 100 concurrent, okay? I think I'm good.
So I don't know why a 2-year period of repressive violence by counter-revolutionary soldiers being against the revolution in this sense is always like against like socialism.
Never take career advice from Queeman, okay?
Not saying that you should use
this guy's not good at career advice.
Violence against socialists, by the way, not good. That's what the Nazis did. Well, and against liberals too. But when he said white terror, he didn't mean like white people. There's no way that Pisco thought that. I can't. There's no way.
The meat of what Ethan's asking, because Ethan's asking, how would you re-educate capitalists? And he's saying, we would throw them in camps if they're violent. And it's
no,
like,
he says, I don't think it would be camps. He's saying it wouldn't be camps.
Oh, hold on. I didn't know that. Somebody just said the White Army was the side that fought against Lenin and Stalin in the Russian Civil War. I don't know. I don't know any history for the Russian Civil War. Wait, why?
I think that's what Wintermute is constantly referring to when he's saying that, oh, it was actually the White Army that caused the Holodomor, right? Because Wintermute, our server Tanky, is a Holodomor revisionist, right? So like he believes that the Holodomor has happened and that many people have died and they all starved to death, but it was because of the White Army, right? The fucking like revolutionaries and the rebels, which is again, it's Holodomor revisionism, right? Yeah. I mean, I don't even believe that the Holodomor was actually a genocide. Like, I don't think so. I don't think it is. However, I will say that again, it's like it. On the other side, you have like Wintermute saying that, yeah, I mean, it was all the White Army. By the way, okay, and this is something that I guess is like a common thing, okay. Whenever there's something bad that happens within the fucking USSR, and you point it out to a Tanky or something, they'll say something like, "Oh well, it was because of the revolutionaries inside the revolution. It's because of the White Army. The White Army caused it all, right?" So they like to offset the blame to someone other than Stalin and Lenin and all these people who are chairmen in the Vanguard Party, right? It's everyone but the Vanguard Party, right? Like that's always their automatic defense. So just in case you see any kind of like defense for the USSR, usually that's their go-to. Okay. Anyway, yeah, you're welcome.
Why are socialists so obsessed with like colors, like Orange Revolution and brown shirts and red shirts and the white? Why do they all use colors for everything? What about like shapes? Can we be like the rectangle? I'm just kidding.
They would go in prison, and it would be a prison instead of camps or whatever, and it would be based off of.
Oh yes, no, you're talking about the Russian Revolution, yeah. Okay.
Of ideological violence, but it's like,
well, that's what he literally says, correct?
But the issue is like again, he's not answering this. He's just sidestepping it.
Yes.
Because
wait, no, what is he not answering? Sorry, what is he not answering? So Ethan is.
Oh my God.
So what would be good? What would be good? A socialist re-education camp for capitalists? And Hasan answers. I says, I don't think it would be camps. He's saying I don't agree that it would be good. Right. And so now he's trying to clarify what he means on everything above. And his clarification, again, you can say that he's mask on and that at this point he's trying to hide his true intentions and make it seem less bad than it is. You can make that argument. But all I'm saying, he is not literally arguing for re-education camps as classically understood. He's arguing for re-education in the context of ideological crime, violent crime specifically. That's what he said.
I wouldn't be surprised if Quinman told J-Suck to date Cherry again, and to keep talking about Destiny as advice. No, I don't think so. I personally don't think so because it harms their narrative. It doesn't help their narrative. It harms their narrative, right? I think what I recall is, what I specifically recall is that I think someone said somewhere that Queeman actually got mad at J-Stoke or criticized them in private, right? And didn't like it or whatever the fuck, and that's why Queeman stopped going on J-Stoke's stream, is because he was so opposed against it.
Yeah, but
what does that even mean?
But the reason I'm saying he's sidestepping it is because this is like we could do this in our system now, and it has nothing to do with socialism, right? If somebody was a violent capitalist and they said we should have no tariffs ever, and I'm gonna go bomb you, and they go and try and bomb somebody, that's the same exact thing. But we know Hasan doesn't like the system, and he thinks it's corrupt or whatever. So like. He's just it just seems like a sidestep because he's not answering really like
I don't think
what are you doing
sidestepping-
with capitalists.
No. So this is what the extra bits you're saying. Like he's sidestepping. He's being he's being like kind of dodgy because he's not adding like what's different about the system to the current system. Is that what you're saying? Basically, is we shouldn't read in these caveats because
Can somebody check, dude? I'm sorry. Can somebody check if Hasan is paying Pisco as his personal lawyer? All right, because literally, like, hey, hold on, this isn't Saul Goodman. This is like fucking Paul Badman, right? Like that's literally what Pisco is doing right now. Like he's literally acting like Paul Badman, where he's like, well, Your Honor, Hasan didn't literally say this, so to presume so would be in bad faith. Your Honor.
Yeah, he's just saying what already exists. And he's
No,
like, oh, it's not that bad. It's
Well,
already-
no, but he's not saying what already exists. I know the caller insists. He's obviously trying to apply something more because if
J-Stuck is all along on his stream. The thing is that I think now J-Stuck looks so bad because he's dating Cherry right now. He's like opening dating Cherry that like even the anti-fans associating with him is like looks bad, if that makes sense, right? Like people who are content creators who are also anti-fans, because the thing is that if you're a Kiwi farmer, whatever, you don't really care, right? You don't really care about it. But like the thing is, and the reality of it is that yeah, like it does look fucking horrible if you're a Queeman, right? I think